Hey, hey, friends. Oh my gosh, can you believe it's the end of the year? I cannot. That year flew by. And it increasingly gets faster and faster, right? I just wanted to wish you all a happy new year. I wanted to kind of close out the year and let you know what's kind of on my radar for the future. So, more and more, my work has shifted, and I've mentioned this throughout the podcast. I really feel like one thing that's happened over the last couple of years is I've become more of a parental life coach as opposed to a parenting coach or a potty training educator. I find that one thing that is happening with all of my clients, and it may or may not be you, I know I have a widely diverse audience. And largely a conscious, you know what I mean when I say conscious. Like, I think we are all really thoughtful about our parenting. If you listen to me, I think, um, I think we really try our best to be the best parents we can be, right? And sorting through all that, what that means, and going through, a large portion of this year has been like sifting through the quote unquote gentle parenting misconstrued as permissive parenting. And more, I do find a bit of, well, I'll talk about that in a second. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I find that with my clients, I can't give strategies. I can't even help potty train a kid because lifestyles have gotten out of control. And the busyness, the overschedule, the rat race, the parenting hustle is what I'm calling it. And I'm really helping people figure out their lives more than their parenting. And there's a saying I love. I saw it as like a graphic on Instagram, and it is, maybe becoming yourself isn't becoming anything at all, but stripping away all the things that fucked you up to begin with. And I really love that because I do think, especially postmenopausal, it's like I look back on my life and I go, okay, well, first I was a people pleasing maniac who didn't know what the hell she was doing. Then I was a mom. And well, in between there, I got my shit together. And then I was a mom and I gave and gave and gave. And now truly, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I love who I am. I'm not people pleasing anymore. And I'm not, I'll always be a mom, but I'm not the hands on parenting. And so it's this like glorious time, which thank God, this is why you want to stay in shape because it's my fucking time now, right? This is my time. And I can feel that it's, my whole life has been sorting through the things that fucked me up. And then I feel like this is the rawest, purest version. And that's where they say youth is wasted on the young, right? Like now I'm starting to have it figured out. Not all the way. Of course, I'll probably be close to dead by the time I figure it out. But it's just this like amazing time where all of that other stuff got stripped away. And I find my work with parents is similar. Like the parenting strategies aren't going to help you if you spend 2 hours with your kid every day. We can't do any work that way. And so a lot of it is figuring out scheduling, maybe how to downsize a little. So maybe one parent can get out of work after a half a day, helping parents look at their finances and deciding, okay, what money is going where, because the dual income is often a myth. It's a thing. Google it. It's a myth because with a dual income comes lifestyle bumps. And so many people think that they have to have certain things and they don't. And so figuring that out, and this is all very individual. I'm not making any proclamations that anybody should be living one way or another, but if your child is having behavioral problems and it's not due to a diagnosis, or even if it is due to a diagnosis, and there are strategies that aren't going to work if we don't have any time. If your schedule is so packed, if your life is so busy, if you are so burnt out that you cannot hold boundaries, this is the number one thing I've been working with this year is I can't. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted and I can't hold the boundary. This is how we end up with like a picky eating. This is how we end up with behavioral stuff, right? So and it's not always the basis, but it's a large portion that I'm seeing. And potty training, I can't get parents to do one day at home. People are literally letting their kids be 5 years old and going to kindergarten, neurotypical average developing kids, because nope, I don't have the time. I have parents who don't have 9-year-olds in diapers at night because I'm not missing my sleep. I'm exhausted. So I really love this new role that I've kind of fallen into, and it's very exciting to me, but that's what I'm going to be focusing on this next year, is like, how can we just figure it out that we're not so burnt out? And and I find I'm in this sort of generational gap, because this always comes up with screens. And this was the thing, like, of the last month of December, November of 2025, I really started to think, and I've said this numerous times on the podcast, right? Like, I'm like, okay, Pascal was 5 before we had personal devices. And of course we had TV, but the programming was different. And I utilized, a little PBS here and there. It wasn't an ongoing thing, but it was, I did utilize it. And and so I feel like I'm in this generational gap here where parents are like, no, 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 you don't understand. I have to use the iPad. I have to use this. I have to use screens. I have to. My kid has to be in activities. I can't manage them on the weekends without activities. They're bored, like all these things. And so, and I'm left here going, I feel like such a boomer. I feel like such an old person, because I'm like, well, just do it. Like, right? And that's not helpful to anybody. I'm like, what do you mean you need a screen? Like, we didn't have screens. Like, I feel like the get off my lawn, grumpy old person. And so, one thing I'm definitely doing is I'm starting to interview moms, and some of them have an audience in their own podcasts, and some of them are moms, and I'm just younger moms than me. And I want to hear, because there are so many things I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what changed so drastically between me and you guys, if you're, say, under 40. And there are big differences. And I never, ever, ever want to be like, duh, you guys need to do it this way, right? I really want to find out, because if we can't name how these things happened, we can't fix them. How we got into this mess, how we got so overextended, so stretched out, what is so overstimulating. And I've done a lot of content about this already, but I've been hearing from younger moms, and I'm enjoying and loving the conversations, because I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. Oh, I didn't think of that. Okay. And so I think this is going to be a really cool thing. And always, this is not a one person problem. So if you feel like I'm calling you out, I'm not. This is a societal problem, but if we can't name it, we can't fix it. And so that's really um, where my work is going to go. Also, in the new year, I'm very excited. Um, I've gone throughout the years, I've had various business teams, and for one reason or another, they haven't worked out. And I have a stellar business manager now. And one of the things she asked me recently was like, I need to know what lights you on fire. I need to know what part of your work just brings you so much joy, like you could do it for hours and hours and hours. And, I have a lot of tentacles to my business. And so I was like, oh my God, I love, in our online community, we have once a month, we have a live call. And with my OCRAP potty training consultants, once a month, we have an online call. And I love in person most of all. I love speaking in person. I love teaching in person, but mostly I love communing with women in person. And back in the day when OCRAP potty training was first starting, one thing I would do is I would go visit. I have friends all over, especially all over the US, but all over the globe. And I would find friends I want to visit. And when I was going to that city or town, I would find a space, maybe a comedy club or cabaret space or something like that, even if it was like a basement of a church or a preschool. I loved the theater spaces though, because we'd have some like cookies and coffee and maybe some wine. And like, instead of me just teaching, it would be a conversation. We'd just be like hanging out. And at this point, I would venture to say I'm your elder. So I've grown super appreciative online and in person when people say like, you're like the mom I never had, or you're like my big sister, or you're like my aunt. And to me, that is like such an honor. And I said, oh, I love that. I light up on a stage, but I really light up when we're like in communion. So well, she just ran with that. She was like, "Oh my God, I love that." And so I'm going to be starting some like online classes. These will probably be like one off, and maybe a cooking class, maybe a workout class, maybe a how to track your macros if that interests you, or, just bitching about motherhood. So we have a safe place to just vent and bitch and be done with it so that we're not labeling our kids, right? And so I think there's like an exciting year ahead of us. And I'm really excited because I want to give all of you guys a hug. I want us to be able to sit with a coffee and really dish about motherhood and dish about life and how life has changed and how life has changed for you guys, because it just is exhausting. And so, anyway, with that, I wish you a happy new year. And my new year looks very exciting. I feel like this is a good place for growth. The world's a dumpster fire, but it's always going to be a dumpster fire. And I just want to let you know that so much of the panic is because of the 24-hour news cycle. And so much of what winds us up is just a constant flow of uh, information. And I subscribe to, do you know Big Time Adulting, Caitlin? I subscribe to her newsletter. It's called Soul Snacks. And she did one on social media and the fact that, those of us who work on social media obviously have privy to like we're on social media a lot. We know how the algorithm works. We see a lot of stuff. We have parenting feeds. And she was like, case in point, when you're online, you just get sick of hearing the word perimenopause. It's like, Jesus, everybody just is drowning in perimenopause. And then when you meet in person, it's not that big a deal, And so one of the things I have noticed is that when we gather in person, differences don't matter as much. We're not as quick to fight, of course, but the things that are bubbling, that feels like the world is ending, is because we're seeing so much of it. And I was born in 1968. We had to there were bomb shelters. There were bomb shelters in our schools. So there was like nuclear fallout. Then there was like always, the world has been ending since I was 6 years old. And I honestly, this past year, I was like, yeah, I, I don't care anymore. I don't think it's ending. It's going to morph. It's going to change. But if you have this cataclysmic dread about the shape of the world, it's because we have too much information and it's coming at to us in an onslaught. And it's not all experts. It's just like people talking. And so it can really cloud your judgment. And even if you don't have social media, if you watch any major news, if you listen to anything, it can feel like it really weighs you down. And I am proposing that the world is not ending. I am proposing that it's not a dumpster fire, that we're just aware of more things happening, whereas before we weren't. And I do believe in love and I believe in humans to pull through this. I really believe in Gen Z and Alpha. And I think they're going to be our change. And so I'm starting off the new year with that in mind. And I wanted to update you. So I did the 26 before 26 and I got through almost all my 26s and it was really great. And one thing I did is Pascal and I, we put our heads down, right around Thanksgiving. And we were like, let's do these things. Let's do the things that are going to just make the new year super cozy. And so rather than like, oh my God, December's such a clusterfuck, we got to do all the things, we really put our heads down. We gutted the house practically because my house is so small. It just gets so overrun with clutter so easily. And it's so easy when you live in the woods, you become a pack rat because you might need it, you might need it. I might need it. And so we cleared out our space. I freshly washed my rugs. I have washable rugs, and they're a pain in the ass to wash because my house is so small. The only washer and dryer that would even fit through the doorway was the mini ones that stack on top of each other. So the rugs don't fit in that. It's like a mini washing machine. And so the rugs don't fit. So I have to take them to the laundromat and the laundromat doesn't do a good job. So I have to wash them a couple of times. I have to dry them a couple of times. And so I washed the rugs and we cleaned out a lot of the clutter, finished painting my kitchen. I started to get, don't fucking laugh at me, I started to do Pascal's baby book. His baby book was just a box of stuff. We took a trip to Bali when he was 8 years old. We did that photo album. I went on to all my old Snapfish sites and ordered books of pictures because I lost track of pictures when he was little. I went back on Facebook and found his childhood is practically documented there. We had no idea what we were doing when Facebook came around, and pretty much his whole childhood was on Facebook. So I first of all, I want to remove that digital footprint, but I also was like, let me get these pictures like in hard copy. And so attended to those. What other big projects did I do? We made actual real hot chocolate with whipped cream, and we sat down and watched a movie. It wasn't a Christmas movie. He loves Bohemian Rhapsody. He's always loved it since it came out. So we watched Bohemian Rhapsody, and yeah, just really, I got through. I didn't get through some of it. Like I have to order this special paint. I have a defunct chimney in the middle of my house that protrudes sort of into the kitchen, and it's I don't know the actual material that's covering it, but it seems to be porous, and so they make a special paint, and I had to order it because it's going to make it like a cool like matte finish, and it seemed like the only thing that would like stick to that porous thing without caking paint up. So that's not done, but I'm getting to it, and I'm learning how to edit so I can get more going on that way, because like for social media I just have to, and for YouTube. So yeah, so a lot of great things. I highly recommend, if you didn't do it this year when I mentioned it on the podcast, I suggest you can do it anytime, but it does require, I like the idea of doing it. I did it, I think, when there were 61 days left to the year is when I heard about the idea. And I like the idea of having a time crunch. And for me, I have always loved New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is like my favorite. I just feel this sense of it's a fresh slate. It's a new year. And I've never been one, as you guys know, if you've listened for a long time, I don't like resolutions necessarily. I like a New Year's resolution. I just think, I think it's lame. I think we make I think we try to make big changes in a time when we shouldn't make big changes. We should be slumbering down for the winter. I think it's weird because like winter really doesn't begin till the solstice, and even then, would the days start getting ever so slightly longer. And it is though a time of hibernation, and we're really supposed to do resolutions and things. The real fresh beginning is spring. It's not the middle of the winter. But I just like that marking of a clean calendar. And to me, it's just always a fun time of like, all right, here we go. It's another chance. It's another chance to get it right. And we're not gonna, but this 26 before 26 was just a really great way to set a limit, set a time limit to it, so that we hunkered down and did it. And Pascal loved it. And I can tell you something. If your house is overrun, if you feel like you have too much stuff, you do. And I am going to continue to de-influence you. The mental clarity I get when I declutter, it comes from a long time ago. When I moved to San Francisco, I literally took a Greyhound bus from Rhode Island to San Francisco. I had one trunk. We had to take several connecting buses. It was one of the most hilarious trips I've ever taken in my life, because I thought it'd be like a green turtle bus. Like I thought it'd be a bunch of hippies taking the bus because it'd be fun. And it's actually like a lot of prisoners get out of jail and take the bus cross country. And so it was a very interesting bus ride. I was 20 years old and I landed in San Francisco, and my trunk was a bus behind me. So I didn't have it on me. And I immediately got a studio apartment. And this was in 1991. And I got a studio apartment, and it was all white rug, white walls. And I'm sure it was just cheaper to just slap white paint to hide anything. And I'll never forget the clarity I had. I have always been a pack rat for memorabilia and fun stuff. And for the first time in my life, I had like empty walls, empty space. And I was like, oh my God, I can think. And so it started a journey of minimalism. And now being in my very small house, very careful about what comes in, and decluttering and really making hard choices about what we choose to have in our house. Just, oh my God, it's remarkable. It's like, I feel like I can breathe better. My lungs function better. My head functions better. And so, and I know some people lean towards maximalism, and that's cool. But when you have kids, it quickly overruns. So I'm going to continue to press for less crap in our houses. And I know it's not all crap, but like more more space all around, right? More headspace, more space in our calendars, more space in our homes. And then there'll be more space in our brains and our hearts, I think. Not to be like all profound and shit, but I really do think so. So, anyway, with that, I wish you guys a happy new year and a safe new year. And yeah, let's fucking do it, man. Let's do it. Let's have a, what do I always like a compass word. And I think just, I don't know, cozy just keeps coming up. I just want cozy and slow, intentional. Maybe intentional is the better word. Yeah. All right. With that, I bid you adieu. And I hope, again, you have a wonderful New Year's Eve. All right, you guys, thank you as always for being here, for listening. I do not take your listening lightly. You letting me be a part of your life, whether you're washing dishes or finally in the car by yourself and you choose to listen to me, I take that very, very, very seriously. And I'm so honored you're here. But also, do me a solid and leave me a 5-star review. Okay. All right. All right. Put your phones down. Rock on, guys. Bye.